So SukaSuka this week was an interesting episode. I would say I really enjoyed the second half of the episode quite a bit. While the first half, it wasn't bad or anything that I didn't enjoy, it just kind of felt off, and overall I feel like this might be the weakest episode just for myself. Maybe I'm the only one feeling that, maybe there's other episodes that people thought were weaker than this one, but it just felt a little off, and it was mainly due to the fact that I understood what they were going for as kind of more downtime, showing that Catholi is changing. Literally, her hair is turning red to the same color that was in her dream when she was talking to whatever spirit is making who she is, because we know these leprechauns are born from dead spirits of humans, and their old lies can inflict their memories. So it makes sense that, we're going to have a bit of downtime, we're going to focus on Catholi's hairs changing and things like that, which I did really enjoy, but just everything around it, it just felt a little flat, like not that exciting, not that interesting, and I'm someone who really likes slice of life. I've watched a lot of slice of life series where it is just the mundane things, nothing really happening. It just felt like, in the case of this episode, it was a little lackluster, even for a fan of slice of life like myself. But I really did like the second half, and also just the concept that when she came out of that dream, she now is more or less not a leprechaun. She is still classified as a fairy soldier, so she would still have to go into battle, but her body isn't a leprechaun right now. She, like, when they do this blood test, it doesn't come back to what it should. Meaning that, more or less, her old spirit, the one that made her who she is probably going to turn her back into her old self. And I speculated with a couple last week that more than likely the spirit that makes Catholi who she is probably someone that Willem himself knew back in his original life. Maybe it was one of the soldiers that he fought with, maybe it was just someone he knew who wasn't a soldier. But it would make the most sense if it was the concept of someone Willem knew in his past life before he was frozen and petrified, is reborn in Catholi's body, and he's going to meet her for a second time, and then she's gonna die, or Willem's gonna die, something like that. Like, I could easily see something. It's very predictable, but I think it would work. Or maybe it is a completely separate girl that is making Catholi who she is, but ultimately it seems like, I think, Willem is going to lose Catholi and probably gain this spirit. Like, the spirit is going to take over her body, and more or less some sort of heartbreak or tragedy is going to inflict like that. But I did really like learning about that concept. I also liked seeing one of the little kids kind of look at Willem as a father, saying that she loves him and that she doesn't really know what a father is, but she kind of looks at Willem like that, and he says, "And I look at you like my kid." So I thought it was really nice seeing those types of scenes, but they were kind of spread far and in between, so there wasn't enough to constantly make me say, this was a good episode, but just a mediocre episode. Which, you're gonna have those. You're not gonna have the hit after hit episode, so it's understandable, but when you watch weekly, you notice these types of flaws more than if you binge a few episodes in a row. And I just think overall, this episode was interesting, especially learning that they only have 5 fairy soldiers, and the fact that we need to pull Catholi out of the lines and replace her somehow, because she can't fight. She's not a fairy, so she wouldn't be able to wield her dug weapon, or at least not that well. And I really like he has friends in high places saying, hey, this old sage, just pass him a message saying I need to study of fairies and she's gonna be under my protection, and then more or less I'm gonna owe him one. I really like that because it does make sense, but ultimately they need as many soldiers as they can get, and currently they only have 5. So it's going to be interesting how they overcome that specific hurdle, but I just think overall, I think the second half is balanced pretty well of kind of slower stuff to more interesting stuff. It's just that first half, it feels off. Like, there's a couple of things here or there, but overall, it just kind of felt meh. But I think if I was to binge this series, this wouldn't be that bad because I would be able to immediately go to the next episode, but that wait week to week can be a downer when you have something like this. But overall, I think it was pretty interesting. I like seeing the whole cake scene, Catholi saying I'm home eating that cake that Willem promised, and it was an overall pretty decent episode, but it's not anything past decent, at least in my opinion. But I'd be interested to hear what people are thinking. Do you agree with my theory that more than likely that the spirit that makes Catholi is probably going to be someone that Willem knew in his past, and there's either going to be separation from Catholi or just that older, spirit that makes up his old friend or old lover or something like that? Or do you think it's a completely different spirit, and just what do you think is going to happen in terms of tragedy? So let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, and before you leave, smack that like button to show your support for the new channel, be sure to subscribe. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.